This is a very interesting topic. We are told salvation is not found in anyone else because there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. So how do Africans get their salvation? Is it possible that the billions that have lived have perished because they lived before Jesus was born? Are they condemned forever? Welcome to Marifado Family Network, where we encourage every melanin-dominant human being to embrace the symphony of their heritage, to remember that there is no salvation outside of their culture. Join Marifado Family Network to champion and celebrate your heritage, cherish every shade of excellence, and embrace your culture, the only compass of your journey into eternal life. You can send an email on join@marifado.com if you've got any question or any requests. So what about other religions? Because Christianity has already ruled a lot of our melanin-dominant human beings and ancestors and currently alive out. It is very clear that no other religion can give a melanin-dominant human being salvation, because all these religions are man-made religions. Why? Because one, they've got a date of origin. As you can see, Hinduism has a date of origin. Up to Islam has a date of origin. And two, they've got a founder. All these are the founders of all the religions that you know today on earth. They have got also holy books, because the founders had to write something. Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, Shintoism, Islam, all of them have got books that they wrote down, and these books are the ones that you are told to read, nothing else. So it is very clear that when we look at this perspective, only our ancient African melanin dominant belief system, indigenous belief systems or religion or teachings or philosophies predates these religions, because they have no date of origin. All we see is the evidence of these practices, like the 70,000-year-old sacred snake rituals or signs that we can see carved on rocks, on stones, in temples by our ancestors. The Sodilo Hill snake rock, the first evidence of religion, beards and body ornaments, beards that date to almost 100,000 years ago, showing that our ancestors were conscious of other realms. We know clearly that African traditional religions are the only religions that have no date or founding or founder. Therefore, they offer a melanin-dominant human being true salvation. Of course, we are using the word salvation based on soteria or soteriology, which was crafted during the time of Ptolemy Soter, when they were creating a savior or a Jesus, who later became the God worshipped by almost all the melanin-dominant human beings today spiritually. These religions cannot save our ancestors. The question I want to ask is, for what purpose then did our ancestors revere snakes, beards, and other entities? Let's look at this from a perspective of charting and sharing the 5 phases of our salvation, how a melanin-dominant human being should work to get their own soteriology or salvation or being saved, whether in this physical life or in the life to come, or even in breaking the continuous forced reincarnation cycles. So the first one is unknowable creator. We've got an asterisk there to show that we are using the word creator or unknowable because we have to communicate, otherwise we can just keep quiet. The gods, Mondoro, the ancestors, personal identity, and original culture. These are the 5 paramount paradigms, foundational pillars of how we get our salvation. The first and the most important step is to awaken to full African salvation that our ancestors taught and left as our heritage. The cardinal one being that the real creator is nameless, has no gender, is not a spirit, is not a being, is remote, and it goes beyond the chasm, is nameless. No human being, no ancestor or ancestors, God or gods, or anything else can validate the existence or non-existence of the nameless one, or the reality or non-reality of the nameless one, because once they do that and into a subjective territory, confirming only that which they have proved themselves, and they cannot pass that proof to another human being objectively, because any way of language, any mathematics, any science, any known and unknown tactic or explanation or flowery language cannot demonstrate anything, whether by miracles or experiments, the proof of the unknowable creator. You can't box him, you can't contain him in your brain. So this unknowable creator can intuitively be pointed to, just like an arrow pointing to, using telepathic tools that our ancestors crafted, created, and left for us. Magic, fetishism, shamanism, animism, and totemic. These pointers point to the far away and usually not helpful but remote creator, and that the spirits are the ones that have control and virtual authority over everything, which we call the gods, Mondoro. In all our teaching left for us, we know that we can invoke, evoke, summon, and acknowledge the holy gods, the first principles, who self-generated from the waters of Nyunyu, the waters of potentiality, and brought into existence all else that you can point to. So when we say may the gods appear, we are really saying a powerful and infinite universal prayer that will bring results. The third step is to understand our ancestors. We venerate all our bloodline and totemic righteous ancestors, reviving their Bantu Mahatic deeds in our lives, pouring libations and calling their names regularly. Our primary spirituality includes many practices to list here. They may include at certain time animism and totemism. When it comes to totems, there is no totemless melanin dominant human being on earth, none at all, because that's the totems point us to the soul essence and equidity in everything that is in nature. And then when we die and when we pass on, we proceed into infinity as an Aku or a blessed dead or a righteous ancestor, if we practiced pure Ubuntu Ma'ati spirit during our existence on earth. The fourth paradigm and the fourth step in our salvation doctrine is that we remind each other of our own personal identity as melanin dominant human beings, as Bantus, Africans, or black people or Negroes, because we were the first and original and organic and natural humans to emerge on the earth and tamed the planet for human habitation. That in essence, we have an immortal soul. The facts are very clear that up until about 8,000 years ago, early hunter-gatherers largely had darker skins, and the two genes appeared to separate them from the melanin dominant human beings through SLC24 A5 and SLC 45A2. Thus, genetics and DNA proves that there were no white people in ancient Europe or on Earth 8,500 years ago. As for the Asians, it's about 15,000 years ago. So black people have been here for about 3.5 billion to about 7-8 trillion years on Earth. I know a lot of people jump out of their skin when they hear such truths. Also, that within each of us is a divine spark or soul which originated from beyond via the gods to our first created melanin dominant organic natural human ancestors, who then procreated and in that process passed that divine spark into us who are living today through our totemic lines of our mother and our father. And hence our ancestors founded the first civilizations and other subsequent civilizations thereafter. Number 5, which is the last one but not the least one, is that of original culture. That the original culture is African. That the Eurasian and Asiatic came from the African. That is very, very clear. So as Marifado and as a member of Marifado Family Network, you are taught and you are encouraged to think in a worldwide aspect and to recognize that all members of Marifado and all co-workers and all others that appreciate Ubuntu, Ma'ati, or melanin dominance, we are just one big family. We strive to teach and live by practicing Ubuntu, Isintu, Chibanu, African spirituality and philosophy as the basis of that culture. So you cannot be a Muslim and claim to be an African. You cannot be a Christian and claim to be an African. You cannot be a Hindu or a Black Hebrew Israelite or practicing yoga or meditation or Eastern traditions and then claim to be a member of the African race. No. Or Ubuntu, no. Because there is no salvation outside of your culture. Because only through your culture can you be able to access your organic, original ancestry. My family network lives Maati, a Bantu or life, also known as Isintu Setu, or spiritual practice known as Chibanu. If you are a melanin dominant human being, anywhere where you live on the earth, the only way of your salvation, to guarantee that you receive salvation, you must be a practitioner of Maati, Bantu, Chibanu, Isintu tradition, in which you communicate to the unknowable one via your ancestors and the guiding spirits or mondor or deities or gods. During that intercession and during your practitioners' activities, you tell your ancestors of the progress of life that you have made and of the challenges of life that you are facing, and you become thankful and thankful for what they have done and thankful for knowledge and for knowing all this truth by speaking to the spirit or mepo or amandlos or ama ancestors. These messages will then be passed on to the divinities or the gods, Msikabanu, Mwari, Unkulunkulu, Uvengan. Then your message is guaranteed to be passed on to the real creator beyond. This is what we call the 5 phases of our salvation. 1, a knowable creator, the gods, Mondoro, the ancestors, personal identity, and original culture. So if you are interested to become a co-worker or a member or a practitioner, do not hesitate to contact us using our email, john@marifado.com. Please specify, because we get a lot of emails and sometimes it takes a lot of time to give people their daily soul bread, because they have not specified exactly what they would want. So all these 5 foundational pillars are not exhaustive. These are not the only teachings. However, we recommend that you follow our YouTube channel and also you read the books that we recommend. And at the end of the day, we've got a book that we believe and trust that you will find enlightening, mind-boggling, and conscious expanding. This book is free from God, unveiling spirituality that breeds wisdom. When you get this book from Amazon, we ask you that you leave a comment after reading it so that others can review your comment and they also benefit. That way is the only other way you can help us spread this Ubuntu Maati ideology. So we want to look at this diagram, which is very, very critical and very, very important. And a lot of our brothers and sisters all over the earth have lost certain type of information. And we are going to fill that gap and correct such errors. There is no spirit, Shikiro, or medium, or in-laws, or ancestral spirit, or divinity that will tell you that they know the unknown creator. Because that is another frequency which in your flesh you cannot access. So human beings and man and his family, or men and dominant human beings living on the earth, can access their ancestral spirits because we are already Shikiro. In other words, we are the medium already by virtue of that. So you need to activate that through using the methods that we have already elaborated in many of our videos, like totemism, libation, and also our normal ways of evoking and invoking that which is already within. The kingdom of heaven is within you. This is the present time that you are doing that. So Amadlos, Midzim, Yemusha, these are ancestral spirits, but they report to Makombre, Mondoro, rain spirits, regional spirits, clan spirits, divinities, anyone who will come to you and dismiss that there are no Mondoros there and that there are Amadlos and Midzim can access the real unknown creator. They are lying. They are deceiving you. They are telling you a fallacy, because when we speak of ancestral spirit, they lived in the past, although they can be in the present today through our mediumship, but they lived in the past. But to go beyond the past, listen to this now, to go beyond the past, that's when you go beyond the chasm. That's when you will be accessing that realm, which we are not going to elaborate on because it's out of our reach. And once we start to elaborate on, we'll be dealing with subjectivity. So in conclusion, other aspects of salvation in the African traditional religion and the way of life is into Ubuntu is where we can drive out ward off evil spirits using our experts in those areas, and cleansing using our experts in those areas, our priests in those areas. And then understanding the continuity of life through our bloodline, totems, and genealogies, and also knowing that our consciousness connected to our ancestral spirituality, the world of the living dead, can access us to the gods and divinities Mondoro, who are capable of going and sending that message to the unknowable creator who is beyond. So this is what we teach as Marifado. So subscribe to our channel, Hamiti Iburu Ethics, where we help Bantu people reclaim their heritage, their spiritual heritage. Your manager to Priest Rabbi LM Jakanja says, still meet again. Siabonga, Tatenda, Encores. Thank you. Remain focused.